A crack appeared in the bridge under construction, and in the next moment, a supporting steel cable lost its balance, causing the bridge to collapse instantly, with a car ahead falling into the gap. Sam sensed that something was wrong and urged everyone to get out of the car quickly. However, just as they were getting out, the bridge suddenly broke apart. Candice was at a loss and ran to take shelter nearby, but the collapse happened too quickly and she fell directly down. Startled, everyone screamed and quickly fled. Unlucky Isaac never expected that, after just going to the restroom, he would fall down with the bus. They continued their escape, trying to return the way they came. But the bridge broke again, leaving many people trapped in the middle. To escape danger, Sam urged his girlfriend to flee first. Thus, Molly stepped onto the steel framework of the bridge and walked towards the other side, successfully reaching the shore. Since Avelia had lost her glasses, she couldn't see anything clearly. Sam hurried to rescue her and helped her onto the steel framework. Suddenly, a tremor struck, causing his entire body to fall onto the surface. Just as he was about to reach the other side after much effort, another tremor hit. Avelia fell down with the tilting rebar, and with a cry, she instantly plunged into the water. Avelia did not die from this, but unfortunately, another vehicle fell down, and she watched helplessly as the car crashed onto her head. The snapping of the cables was like a guillotine. Nason was pulled away and vanished in an instant. The bridge continued to collapse. Cables snapped one after another, and those who were unlucky had no foothold and fell down. Dennis, a company executive, grabbed onto the rebar, thinking he could climb back up. Unexpectedly, the asphalt truck next to them overturned, leading him to take the hottest shower of his life, after which he felt completely refreshed and fell down. Seeing this, Peter immediately jumped onto the railing, and at a critical moment, Sam also jumped onto the railing. The bridge behind them lost its support, and the middle section completely fell down. The two of them held tightly onto the railing, trying hard to climb up, but the railing was about to give way under their weight. Suddenly, a car slid down, causing rebar to fall as well. As Sam sees his friend Peter in trouble, will he be able to escape disaster? Just as he was about to climb up, a piece of metal from the vehicle fell down again. Sam suddenly found himself back on the bus from 10 minutes ago, realizing he was facing a terrifying future. He urged everyone to get off the bus quickly, before the danger arrived, or else everyone would die. Seeing that they didn't believe him, Sam grabbed his girlfriend and ran outside to confront his boss's confusion. Sam still took his girlfriend and escaped from the bus, while Dennis, the company head, and the one who invited them on this trip, feared taking responsibility and asked Peter to safely bring the two back. Thus, Peter got off the bus to look for them, and Candice used the excuse of helping to escape from the bus. The remaining people could no longer sit still and began to get off the vehicle one after another. At that moment, the steel cable started to snap and cracks appeared in the ground. It was only then that everyone realized the danger and quickly began to flee. They ran desperately in the middle of the bridge and managed to escape to a safe area before the entire structure collapsed. The lucky ones saved their lives, and everyone was puzzled about how Sam knew. The agents also did not believe that Sam could foresee the future. To them, it felt more like a deliberate murder. Sam explained that he had only experienced a hallucination. Due to Sam's good work attitude, the agents could not find any issues, and the report indicated that the bridge collapsed because of strong winds. Due to structural damage caused by the road construction, the agents could only release a few people. This incident resulted in the deaths of 86 people, and among the 25 organized by Pace and his company, only Sam and 7 others were fortunate enough to survive, earning the nickname, the Lucky 8. The other 17 perished in the bridge collapse, and they attended a memorial for their deceased colleagues. As a few were leaving, a stranger uttered a strange remark, leaving Peter puzzled and prompting him to ask questions, but the stranger merely advised them to be careful in the future before mysteriously departing. Peter ignored it. But Sam, who had encountered the future, understood. It could be some kind of hint for Sam to meet his girlfriend Molly after work, as Molly had recently broken up with Sam. Not working out. The sudden words left Sam very sad. After the bridge ceremony, Sam wondered why Molly wanted to break up, especially since their relationship had been very good in the past. She wanted to salvage their relationship. It turned out that Molly wanted Sam to go to France to study culinary arts, which was Sam's dream. She believed this would be better for her boyfriend's future. You have to go after what you love. You should take the job. Peter and Candice are a couple. Candice is a gymnast who is about to participate in the National Gymnastics Championship. Peter comes to support his girlfriend during her final practice before the competition. Candice feels uneasy about the bridge incident and is somewhat afraid of encountering an accident herself. With Peter's comfort, she regains her confidence and begins to prepare for practice. Unbeknownst to her, a screw on the uneven bars that an athlete is practicing on has already started to loosen, signaling that disaster is about to strike. Meanwhile, the air conditioning has also malfunctioned, causing the athletes to train in a stifling environment. Candice's coach helplessly states that the air conditioning is under repair. Despite the air conditioning control system showing an error, the repair personnel, finding it troublesome, did not thoroughly check the issue, but instead instead performed a simple restart. The air conditioner was overloaded, and to cool down, a fan was added, but the damaged insulation of the wires went unnoticed. When it was Candice's turn to practice, her boyfriend cheered her on from the side. After applying magnesium carbonate powder, Candice habitually fiddled with the hair tie on her wrist, but the hair tie unexpectedly broke. Symbolizing his luck, it would soon vanish. Suddenly, a cold wind blew through, and death arrived. The air conditioning unit on the ceiling condensed, and water droplets silently dripped beside the wires. Candice began practicing on the balance beam, but shortly into his practice, the droplets accumulated and made contact with the wires, causing the water to become electrified. Meanwhile, the air conditioning unit above, overloaded, had its screws starting to loosen. In an instant, a screw fell straight down onto the balance beam. Candice then stepped onto it, completely unaware of the tiny screw bouncing back and forth in front of him, which would cause him to fall if he stepped on it. The accidental death in the conductive water seemed like a carefully designed accident. However, this time Candice did not step on any screws. She completed a difficult move, and Peter let out a sigh of relief. As Candice began her landing, she brushed past death, still avoiding the screws, and landed perfectly, making Peter proud of her. As Candice was leaving, she happened to pass by some wires. When a friend handed her a towel, Candice stopped, but the water was quietly flowing towards her feet. Fortunately, she noticed it in time and threw the towel onto the water. An unexpected event prevented this accident. Candice began practicing on the uneven bars, moving from the low bar to the high bar. As she continued to flip her body, the screws above started to loosen further, while a gymnast practicing on the balance beam behind her also failed to notice the small screws above. This time, she did not step on the camera that was aimed at the fan. What purpose would that serve? The screws on the high bar fell off, and it seemed like a premeditated method of multiple deaths, waiting to see which trigger would activate first. Both were at the final moments of their practice, when the gymnast on the balance beam suddenly stepped on one. Xiaoshang's sting caused him to lose his balance and fall onto the magnesium carbonate powder. The electric fan instantly blew the powder into Candice's eyes, causing her to lose control of her landing. Sam rushed to the hospital upon hearing the news and found Peter. Peter was devastated by the death of his girlfriend. He couldn't understand how his ex-girlfriend had always excelled during practice, and this accident seemed utterly absurd. Just after Sam comforted Peter, the strange man from before reappeared, and Sam happened to see him. But when he turned his head, the man had vanished. Sam was still unaware that the tragedy was continuing to unfold. He was an employee of Pegasus Company, and Isaac was heading to Destiny Spa to relax with some acupuncture. The front desk staff reminded Isaac to turn off his phone. Mobile phones are prohibited in this area. Isaac hung up the phone without hesitation, knowing that his phone would become a trigger for disaster. He showed disrespect to the front desk staff during the consultation process, and he would receive an unexpected reward for it. He was taken to the front desk of an acupuncture and massage room, and was asked to wait for a moment. Then, a burly master walked in, and began to give him a devilish massage therapy. Of course, this was just an appetizer to the sad situation with Peter's British girlfriend at the company, so he invited his colleagues out for drinks to drown his sorrows. On the way, Olivia had to leave early for something and accidentally knocked over her framed photo, noticing that the cracks in the glass converged at the eyes in the picture. However, she didn't think much of it. Now she needed to go to the ophthalmology hospital for laser correction for myopia. The cracks in the photo hinted that something bad was about to happen, and Peter did not achieve the effect of drowning his sorrows in alcohol. Instead, he became even more frustrated and irritable. Dennis immediately called the agent to report the employee's unusual conditions to the officer. Since the agent was involved in the investigation of the gymnastics accident, he suspected that the problem lay with those 7 individuals and suspected it was a murder. Unfortunately, the task force was unable to recreate the experience of the accident, and they couldn't find anything. Isaac began undergoing professional acupuncture therapy. After the master completed the acupuncture, Isaac wanted to play on his phone, but the master took the phone away and placed it next to a candle on a wooden cabinet, telling him to sleep for 30 minutes. Then, the master left, accompanied by a strange wind from nowhere. Death arrived, and the wind blew away the incense ashes that had entered the room, which fell onto a dry towel, igniting instantly. Isaac, seeing this, shouted for help, but he had confirmed earlier that the soundproofing here was very effective. Even if he screamed at the top of his lungs, no one would hear him. Isaac wanted to go down to seek help, but the acupuncture made it difficult for him to move. Suddenly, the device securing the bed frame broke, causing him to fall to the ground and knock over a flammable liquid from the cabinet, which then spilled towards him. He fell into a brief unconsciousness, and upon waking, struggled to get back on his feet. Just as he was about to escape from the room, his phone rang with a loud tone. The fire lunged at Isaac, and he jumped back just in time to avoid the flames, but he also fell to the ground. Miraculously, the flames did not spread, and Isaac breathed a sigh of relief, grateful to have escaped unharmed. But then, a statue fell from above. The statue smiled like the Grim Reaper. Sam was persuading Molly, who had decided not to go to France, but to stay with Jasmine instead. At that moment, Peter brought the unfortunate news that Isaac had died under mysterious circumstances. When they arrived at the crime scene, Sam saw that strange man again. He was present every time someone died. Could he be the one orchestrating everything behind the scenes? Sam approached him to ask why he was following them, but he was a coroner, and this was just his job. Sam felt that this matter was not simple, and continued to inquire about what would happen to them. It turned out that the coroner had experienced such situations before, and there had been a few lucky ones who escaped disaster. But then, one after another, they died in bizarre ways, as if death was targeting those who had changed their fate on the bridge. Those who should have died on the bridge ended up surviving. According to the coroner's past experiences, they were already on death's list, and would die one by one. Nathan did not believe this, thinking it was merely a series of accidents. Sam has encountered the future, and believes it might be real. He continues to ask how he can escape death, and learns that if he finds someone to take his place, he can replace them at the moment of death and claim their remaining life. In simple terms, it means taking someone else's lifespan, killing them to survive. But who would commit murder? If what the coroner said is true, perhaps not everyone is destined to die because, in Sam's vision, he saved his girlfriend Molly and brought her to safety during the encounter. Since Molly survived, she might not be on death's list. But Peter blames Sam for not saving Candace, which led to his girlfriend's fate. The rest of us, no, that's not what he's saying. I don't deserve to live more than hell he deserved to live. Candace witnesses the conflict between the two, and Nathan states that the guy is just trying to scare them. But if it's just a scare, how could two bizarre deaths occur so coincidentally among the 8 survivors? Now they need to inform Olivia about this. Olivia has already arrived at the laser eye clinic and has decided to correct his nearsightedness. He is taken to the operating room by the doctor, but the recent events make him feel uneasy, so he grabs a teddy bear for comfort, yet he still shakes all over, terrified. Suddenly, a gust of ominous wind blew through, and death approached. The doctor comforted him, telling him not to be afraid, as it would soon be over. Olivia's head was fixed in place, rendering him unable to move. After the doctor applied a paralyzing eye drop, he took out an eye speculum and placed it over Olivia's eyes. Although Olivia's expression was blank, he was actually filled with fear. When his eyes were pried open, he looked around anxiously, but saw nothing except for a laser device, causing him to grip the bear tightly in fear. The doctor opened the device and began entering personal information, but discovered that the assistant had submitted an incomplete file. He decided to step out for a while to organize the data, leaving Olivia alone to wait. At that moment, the water from the nearby water cooler began to flow upwards, spilling into the power socket of the laser equipment, causing a malfunction. The system status reading started to rise automatically, and the power exceeded 5 milliwatts, triggering an error in the laser cooling machine. Supposed to be happening, Olivia called for help, but no one came. Then the values began to rise rapidly, and the laser controller behind him was jolted and slid down, revealing the start and emergency pause buttons. Olivia wanted to pause the device, but couldn't reach it. In a moment of desperation, he managed to grab the controller, but unfortunately, it fell to the ground and activated the device. After starting, it pauses for a few seconds. Olivia seizes the opportunity to try to break free, desperately attempting to remove the device fixed to her head. In a moment of panic, she yanks off the wide-eyed apparatus, but the device starts up again, forcing her to use her hands to block it. It alternates between starting and pausing every few seconds. Sam and Molly come to find Olivia and tell the doctor that he might be in danger, but the doctor does not believe them. A few people hurried over to check the situation, and Olivia finally managed to release the device on her head and escape from the terrifying bed. She lost her sanity and began to cry for help. Molly is very scared upon seeing this, and actively asks Sam to stay with her and not go anywhere. When the officer arrives, he finds it unbelievable that such an accident could occur only if 5 malfunctions happened simultaneously, and 3 people have already died. How could there be such coincidences in the world? The officer cannot find any leads, and can only watch as events unfold. Sam speculates that if he follows the order in which his friends die in his visions of the future, he can determine who will be the next to die. After seeing Molly on the bridge, the order is Candace first, then Isaac, followed by Olivia, and after after Olivia, it will be Nathan. Next on the list of death's victims are Dennis, Peter, and finally Sam. Nathan, who works in the factory, looks at the large, sharp iron spikes below and feels a sense of unease. He glances at the 30-ton hoist hook ahead, and just as he contemplates the process of death, an employee comes over to argue with him. My hour, which made you cut my pain. I cut everyone's hours, okay? Neither of them noticed that the machine behind them was operating and seemed to be malfunctioning. Nathan reminded the employee, but he was still demanding his wages. Nathan told him to leave quickly, but the man thought Nathan wanted to fight him, resulting in a confrontation. Don't panic, it hasn't fallen yet, right? But it seems that death has played a deadly joke on Nathan. The series of deaths leaves Peter restless, and he wants Dennis to think of a solution, or else everyone might end up dead. However, Dennis believes that Peter is suffering from survivor's guilt, unaware that he will be next. Peter warns Dennis that he is likely to be the next victim. Dennis quickly calls the officer, telling him that Peter has lost his mind. After hearing the news, several people come to check the situation. Peter immediately asks if Nathan killed him, but Nathan explains that he did not commit murder. Everything was just a coincidence. Peter, however, believes it must be a carefully planned scheme by Nathan. Standing there, taking his life. Nathan also confessed that although he did not kill intentionally, it was his negligence that led to the employee's death. Therefore, according to the coroner, Nathan has now received the employee's lifespan. To determine whether Nathan has indeed gained that lifespan, one must see if the next person encounters an accident. Dennis arrives at the scene of the incident. This result proves that Nathan indeed gained a lifespan. Molly wanted Sam to hide for a while and not go to work, but Sam believed that he could not live in fear and that life must go on. So he returned for the night shift, involuntarily becoming more vigilant, even avoiding these things when he saw them. Suddenly, a large metal skewer came flying at him. Fortunately, he dodged quickly, leaving him in a cold sweat. At that moment, a malfunction in the meat grinder caused the ground meat to get stuck inside. Sam quickly unplugged the power, and just as he was about to operate it, the equipment started running again, only to realize he had unplugged the wrong power source. According to the Grim Reaper's list, Sam is the last one, so it is not his time to die yet. Sam and Molly were having a late night snack, enjoying their sweet moments together, when an angry and fierce Peter arrived, knowing that he was the next one. These past few days had left him restless, unable to eat or sleep. Sam invited him in, but neither of them noticed the change in Peter. Now, Peter had developed a murderous intent. The winds of evil were blowing, and the Grim Reaper had come. Peter quickly told Sam that he had decided to kill a stranger to extend his own life. Just moments ago, he was on the street, ready to harm an innocent woman, but ultimately, he couldn't bring himself to do it, so he made an excuse for himself. He couldn't, but the girlfriend and her colleagues were not in danger, so why was Molly still alive? After saying this, she picked up the gun and aimed it at Molly, but Sam quickly used the table to block her attack, and the two hurried to escape. Sam told his girlfriend to hide, while he drew Peter's attention. When Peter arrived, he threatened Sam to hand over Molly, or he would kill Sam. Sam refused to give up Molly, even in the face of death, and for Peter, killing Sam would not be beneficial, as Sam was also on death's list, and killing him might not guarantee an extension of life. Peter did not want to kill unnecessarily, so he knocked Sam unconscious with one blow and began searching for Molly. He turned on all the gas, preparing to deal with Molly and destroy the evidence. Molly was so scared that she didn't dare to make a sound. She secretly took out a dagger for self-defense. At that moment, an agent appeared, just as he was inquiring about who had fired the gun. Molly was paralyzed with fear. Now Peter was like a mad beast. A sinister wind blew. Would Sam be the next to die? Molly urged him to leave, but Peter had no intention of letting him go, as Molly was a witness to the agent's murder. To avoid going to prison, Peter planned to kill Molly. Just as he was chasing her, Sam lunged at Peter, knocking the gun out of his hand. Sam urged his girlfriend to quickly find help, while the two continued to struggle fiercely, with Peter trying to shove Sam into a pot of oil. Little did they know that the gun behind them was already under the control of death. After an intense battle, Sam was no match for Peter. He was struck on the head and fell into a brief unconsciousness. Seizing the opportunity, Peter kicked Sam fiercely, and just as he was about to kill Sam, Molly desperately lunged at him, biting his ear hard. But in an instant, Molly was defeated, and Sam picked up a dagger. Walking towards Molly, was there no chance left? The gun on the gas stove was primed and ready, with death aiming at them. At the critical moment when Peter was about to kill Molly, Sam killed Peter to save his girlfriend. After dealing with Peter, he was supposed to take Peter's lifespan, as the two wondered whether Sam had successfully gained a lifespan. A loving couple survived. Is it over? Of course not. 2 weeks later, they boarded a plane to go to France together, when someone started making a commotion wanting to get off the plane. I am not your friend. Sam did not realize that the person had the same ability to foresee the future as he did, and he foresaw that everyone on the plane would die. That person is Alex, the Grim Reaper. After the plane took off, Sam looked at the warning that the Grim Reaper had arrived, and then the plane began to shake, giving Sam a sense of foreboding. This is bad. The engine on the wing suddenly caught fire. The two embraced tightly as debris from the engine pierced through the aircraft's skin, causing strong airflow to enter the interior, and the plane began to fall. A huge tear opened up at Molly's position, and someone who couldn't hold on was swept out by the airflow. Otherwise, Molly would have been swept out as well. Sam held on to Molly tightly, but their strength was limited. The couple ultimately could not escape the clutches of death. Only Nathan survived to the end, drinking and feeling grateful to be alive. But will death spare him?